The Running Man stars Glenn Powell, Coleman Domingo, Michael Cera, Katie M. O'Brien, Jack from Will and Grace, and Angel from Dexter. Also Thanos. It is set in the future where everything is fingered, and Glenn Powell's character has a sick child and needs to get some money fast, so he goes on this TV game show called The Running Man, which is a deadly competition where contestants must survive 30 days while being hunted by professional assassins and getting called out by the general public. If he wins, he gets $1 billion. If he loses, he's dead. This isn't per se a remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It is in fact a movie version of the novel written by Stephen King under a pseudonym. So I'll try not to compare the two movies too much, but there are some parallels, of course. Here it is. Remember, this is an Edgar Wright film. The Edgar Wright, okay? Edgar Wright did Shaun of the Dead, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Hot Fuzz, and Last Night in Soho, and of course Baby Driver, which I think is one of the best films I've ever seen. So expectations were probably running a bit high for me, because Edgar Wright's films don't actually typically do all that well on opening at the box office. They usually find their audience afterwards and become like just really popular because they're awesome. Baby Driver in particular is a film which has so many just like diegetic sound and like little devices and little nods and here and there. It's always really, really intelligent and complex filmmaking that Edgar Wright does. Even Last Night in Soho had just shots in it that were nearly impossible to do practically, but he did it. And so even if like a lot of people didn't like that one quite as much, it's still amazing to watch because Edgar Wright films are great. They just look amazing, they feel amazing, and they're just awesome. So I was thinking this is gonna be great. But it wasn't that great. Like, here's something that I noticed immediately. First of all, I should say that the performances being delivered here are fantastic. Everyone's doing a great job. Glenn Powell does a great job at being a really angry guy. And, you know, even though he's sort of filling Arnie's shoes, he's not quite as big as Arnie. It's not supposed to be that movie. There you go again. But his character is believable, great, and just, and good to watch. Similarly, Coleman Domingo, his role is the game show host, and he's doing really great at it. Like, it's not that huge a role, but it's, you know, it works. Josh Brolin playing the Killian character, and they kind of split it between the producer and the game show host. In the last movie, it was the same guy, but whatever. Everyone's doing fine. Everyone's doing great, so nothing wrong with the actors. What's wrong was that this movie feels small. Like, if I had to distill what I thought about the film as I walked out, my first reaction was, I just thought it would be cooler. It's cool. Usually Edgar Wright films are really cool, particularly Baby Driver. He's always got an edge to his filmmaking that makes it worth coming to the theater for, because he's such an interesting and complex filmmaker. This film is not complex. Like, probably the first half of the film is, oh, okay, this is good, it's great, you're in there. But a lot of the set pieces and the way that it's filmed, it's sort of underlit in a way, and I guess that was obviously a decision that he made. But even when you look at the soundstage of the network TV show is being filmed, it's a small area, and it doesn't look like there's that many people there. And that's quite accurate, because if you actually go to a soundstage for a TV show, usually the audience section is not as big as you thought it might be. But that doesn't really work for this film, or at least for me. I was noticing how local the film looks. And that's weird, because it's not just set in a bunch of sound stages like the Arnie movie, but it's set in like the entire city. So it should feel big, it should feel expensive, and it should feel just a bit more polished than it does. This movie looked and felt a little low-key for my liking. Once again, maybe he wasn't going for being an eye-popping film, and while it is realistic looking, it isn't particularly impressive, and it's not particularly cinematic, in my opinion. It's fine for him to change up his style. Like, Hot Fuzz looks very different to, like, Last Night in Soho, for example, but in each case, those treatments worked. This execution didn't seem to grab me. Plot-wise, it was not a particularly complex plot. It does not twist and turn much, though I will say that around maybe the middle of the second reel, it kind of loses its way. Tonally, it jumps all over the place, which again is not common for Edgar Wright. He writes and does everything. He knows what's going on. He knows how to make a film. I think what went on here is that at a certain point, if you've seen the trailers, Michael Cera is in it, and he has a great role. He does a fantastic job. But right after that scene is when it seems to go south. Like, a lot of things don't make a lot of sense. For example, no spoilers, but the TV network is trying to track down Glenn Powell, and they're using, he's managing to fool them here and there, but he's wearing a bracelet the whole time, which is electronically gives him his, money and that kind of thing. And like, so they can totally track him from that. I don't know what the deal was with, like, a few things don't really make sense, and it's okay. You can give a film like the benefit of the doubt and go, okay, well, that's okay. We can look past it if it's great. But this did actually derail it a bit for me. I'm going, this doesn't make sense, and it doesn't feel right as a result. For Edgar Wright to have a plot that isn't that well thought through is unusual again. It has funny bits in it, but it is not together funny. It has action pieces in it. Some of them are really great, but it then still doesn't strike you as much of an action film as, again, I was expecting. I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think I just expected too much and that ruined the movie for me. But that's not the case, because it's Edgar Wright. I had a right to expect too much. And this fell short. This fell real short. It reminds me of The Fall Guy. In tone a little bit, except not as funny. Fall Guy was a straight out comedy. But in terms of how it's performing, what you have here is a great big star and a seemingly interesting premise and something that you'd think everyone was into because it's already an existing property. And then when you get there, it wasn't quite what you wanted. And I will still say though, The Fall Guy was better than this film. And that's tough to say because it's Edgar Wright. And if you know how the novel ends, you can't actually really film that ending. So that's fine for it to change. I would not actually rate this film. I am going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Not because it isn't well put together and doesn't look good and that kind of thing. It just wasn't impressive. It wasn't even close to outstanding, and it was not cool enough. That's what it is. It's not cool enough. This had to be cooler, this movie. It's Edgar Wright! All up, I would not rush out to see this film. I think it would be something, if you're a fan, to definitely check out, but there's other stuff probably that you could go to first. But tell me, what did you think? Did you like the film? Maybe you dug it and maybe I'm completely wrong. Who knows? It looks to me like this is not going to do particularly well at the box office. I hope it does better. I want all movies to do well. But did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think went right or wrong with it? Drop a comment below and please consider subscribing if you dug this video. I'll see you in the next one.